What's going on, everybody? So I am back today to talk about a film from last year that I hadn't got around to watching yet, and I was really looking forward to seeing this in the theater, but things happened. I didn't have the opportunity to, and then it finally went up on streaming, and I waited a really long time to get around to seeing this one, although I was really excited about it. And the film I'm going to be talking about today is Nightmare Alley from Guillermo del Toro. Before the review starts though, as always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always looking for new things to review, new films I haven't seen yet, and I love getting comments from you guys about your opinions on these films and listening to different perspectives from you guys that maybe you disagree with me or maybe you agree with me, and I just have a lot of fun reading through those, and it's my favorite part of running the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do so and then like the video. Nightmare Alley is directed by Guillermo del Toro, an ambitious carnival man played by Bradley Cooper with a talent for manipulating people with a few well-chosen words, hooks up with a female psychiatrist who is even more dangerous than he is. So I feel like that description doesn't really give the movie its due diligence, but this was one I was really excited to see because I'm a very big fan of Guillermo del Toro, and despite the fact that I don't always love his movies, I always respect his ambition as a director, especially when it comes to the visual style and the tonality of his films. He is just so uniquely him. When you turn a Guillermo del Toro film on, you know you're watching a Guillermo del Toro film, and that's one thing I do appreciate of him. My favorite movie of his, which this may be cliche, I know a lot of people love Pan's Labyrinth, or even older films from him like Kronos. My favorite film from Guillermo is Shape of Water, and I think that the reason why I love that film so much is because of that balance between his really unique love of the weird and the abnormal, and kind of putting himself into the film in that way, and loving yourself despite, maybe coming off as strange or different to other people around you. And I love how he balances that with the supernatural. He creates and crafts these super unique stories. Films like Crimson Peak that I really love, Pan's Labyrinth, which obviously is a masterpiece, and I love it quite a bit. I was really looking forward to see Nightmare Alley because I read a lot of reviews about it, and I know that there was a lot of people who seemed to dislike this film because of how different it is from what we're used to seeing from Guillermo. But I really liked it a lot. I don't think it's a perfect film, and it's not my favorite film in his catalog by any means, but I think it was a riveting movie with some incredible performances. And the pacing, in my opinion, was really great. I know there's a lot of people who say when the film leaves the carnival environment that people become less invested, and I can understand that. It takes kind of a drastic shift in what the movie's going for, but it never really pulled me out of it, and I just thought this movie was really unique and engaging. So I feel like the plot synopsis that I gave at the beginning doesn't really give the film its due diligence, but the film opens with Bradley Cooper throwing a body into the floorboards of a house and burning it down, and from that visual I was like, I'm sold. And Bradley Cooper goes to this carnival. He's kind of just drenched in rain. You get this really beautiful, almost noir setting that Guillermo creates of this dirty, gross carnival with all of these really unique and interesting individuals who work there. We get Toni Collette, she steals the show, in my opinion, in several scenes where she plays this medium who is picking people out of the audience and telling them what's wrong, but she has this glass panel beneath the floorboard where people are feeding her information about the audience members, telling them what's going on. You have Willem Dafoe, who's in charge of the carnival, who is just as eccentric and over the top as possible. Ron Perlman is in it. He does phenomenal in this. You have Rooney Mara, who I always love. She gives a really great performance. And then later on, from the plot description, Cate Blanchett's character. But when we open up, it's kind of Bradley Cooper finding his bearings and seeing how this carnival operates. And it's really fascinating to see the power dynamics and how these people kind of fall into place. And Toni Collette is who he becomes close to at first, and he starts working really close to her and her husband and doing this act together. Well, then you start to see Rooney Mara's act, and she does this thing with electricity where it's pulsing through her body, and he starts to work with her to find a way to appeal to the audience more and to make it this whole big stage show. And the conflict he has between Willem Dafoe about how he's kind of going about information, And all of these people in this movie are really terrible humans. And that's what I like about it. They're multifaceted enough that you can like elements of them, but they're all kind of evil people in their own way. The exception of maybe Ron Perlman, who I guess he's a seemingly overprotective person for Rooney Mara's character, and I couldn't 100% tell whether it was mean-spirited or if it was like good intention. But he never really did anything on the contrary to make me think he was like overtly evil. But yeah, so you have all those power dynamics, and then where the film shifts is he falls in love with Rooney Mara, which is left up to your interpretation because this film is filled with evil human beings. They go to the city together to start this act where Bradley Cooper learns from Toni Collette's husband how to do this. It's almost like he's the mentalist almost, where he can just see people and their actions and the way that they present themselves and can do a psychic reading based on like gestures. And then there's hand signals that they learn together how to communicate information while Rooney Mara works her way through the audience. And so they start this show, and Cate Blanchett's character shows up, and she's a psychiatrist, and she starts to try to like see whether or not this is real. And she starts working with Bradley Cooper to manipulate her clients to get money and to kind of to swindle them in a way, and use this act to become more personal and to have them connect with people who have died. And it's just so unique because the way this plays out, it feels like you're reading a really incredible book. And that's what I liked about it. You have this really immersive carnival setting, and then it kind of tones back when you get into the city, and it's so much more about these interpersonal connections with characters. And I really liked that. And I don't want to give away all of the plot points, but that's your generic overview. And it is a 2.5 hour runtime, so it's a little long, but it does a really nice job of kind of moving you through this world, and I really appreciated that. The cinematography is top notch. It's Guillermo del Toro. Every film I've ever seen of Guillermo's is just top notch when it comes to setting. I really love the dingy carnival look, very like dark browns, and it's really desaturated and it just looks ugly. There's this really cool scene at the beginning where there's this guy who they've like drugged out of his mind, where they say he's like half man, half beast. And Willem Dafoe is like feeding him this drugs and like making him eat live chickens, and it's like the most brutal thing in the world. But he escapes at one point, and Willem Dafoe's like, we've got to find him. And so Bradley Cooper's running through this like fun house, and all these intricacies that Guillermo puts into the production design, along with the cinematography and these wide angle lenses that really give you the immersive nature of this environment. I just love it. It has this very like unique quality to it. I think of one of my favorite carnival-esque films, other than Carnival of Souls, which isn't about a live carnival, but I love that film a lot, is Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is based on the Ray Bradbury novel, and just how immersive that world is, and the carnival, and seeing those characters interact with this carnival. I love that type of atmosphere, and I feel like it's not something that you get in films very much anymore. And so I was really happy to see a film in that world in like the late 30s, early 40s, World War II era. It was just really great to see, and I never wanted to leave. As far as other Guillermo films, the soundtrack to this movie is great. I really liked the score. I feel like it just attributed to the overall feel that the movie was going for. And like I said, this performance-driven film with so many incredible performers. If it says anything, I'm not a huge Bradley Cooper fan. He seems like a totally nice guy. I don't normally love him. He was fantastic in this movie, and he was actually, next to Toni Collette and Willem Dafoe, probably my favorite part of the film. He is so into this character. He does such a great job of playing this like grifter that is so good at manipulating not only the people in the film, but you as the audience member, where you get kind of glimpses into his life and things that have happened, and you feel bad for him, but at the same time, he's not really a great guy. So you're kind of pulled back and forth between that, and that was one of my favorite elements of the film as a whole. So I don't have much more to say other than watch Nightmare Alley. It was a really great movie, and I really enjoyed it, and I always look forward to what Guillermo is going to do next. I just really wish Disney would have gave him the rights to the Haunted Mansion movie, because it would have been fucking amazing. So have you seen Nightmare Alley yet? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought it was well acted, well shot, great score, and typical Guillermo fashion, a film that for 2.5 hours kept me on the edge of my seat, and I really enjoyed it. As always, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.